and me for a closer look at her collection. Now, the 1940s and 50s were the era of the post-war pin-up, a time when images of voluptuous women could be found on just about every street corner in America. These days, the original artwork is selling for literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the all-American girls have become a major US export. With me now is Simon Miller, who's a keen collector of 50s erotica, and his collection is rather appropriately spread out on the bonnet of an AC Bristol car. You call it erotica, do you? Or?
Pin-up art. I think it's not really erotica. I know it was very racy at the time, but now I think most people regard it as fairly tame.
So when did you start collecting all this?
About 7 years ago. And I discovered a couple of those books over there, in a second-hand bookshop, and that's really where it all started.
What attracted your interest? Was it the artwork, or was it the females? Or?
It's the artwork. I mean, it's very striking images, and some of them quite sleazy, which has an appeal.
But is there an artist in you? Do you like?
Yeah, to an extent, yeah. I mean, I did go to art college, and life drawing was a major interest.
So the artwork is quite a lot of it.
Yeah.
What is the history then, really, of the pin-up?
I think the first pin-ups really probably appeared in France at the turn of the century. The American pin-up developed during the 20s and 30s and was mainly a tool for selling magazines.
So did they come directly from the French, do you think?
I think that French pin-ups obviously were a major influence on the Americans. But as I say, they were used to sell magazines. I mean, these were eye-catching images, and they was put on newsstands, and it was to stop you and get you to buy a magazine. It was quite a blatant case of sex sells, really.
And what are some of your favourite images, at the moment?
The mutoscope cards down there.
What cards are those?
Mutoscope cards. They were dispensed from vending machines. I think a lot of people would mistake them for postcards, but they've actually got blank backs.
So people just bought them as
cards?
Yeah,
bought them as cards and probably pinned them up somewhere. I mean, obviously, it was a wartime period, and obviously American troops would probably take them abroad with them.
Yeah, so morale-boosting stuff.
Morale boosters.
Same with the playing cards, I guess.
Playing cards and fold-out cards as well. Obviously, American troops would take those abroad as well, I should imagine. And
are there any kind of sought-after designers and also sort of models that are identifiable?
Models, really. I mean, the most famous one in terms of British pin-up art was Jane.
Have we got her anywhere?
Yeah.
Is that her?
No,
oh, no, there she is.
There's two.
Yes,
that was the Daily Mirror cartoon strip that ran for years and years.
So she's quite collectible, whether original or...
Yeah, she's quite collectible, yeah.
Reproduction.
Guaranteed morale booster. I mean, apparently Troops' progress was associated with how much clothing she lost in her cartoon strips.
That's quite a credit to her, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about the actual artists themselves?
There's far more interest in America than there is here. Alberto Vargas and George Petty, who were artists for both Esquire and Playboy.
Have you got examples of their work?
Yeah, it's Alberto Vargas there.
Yeah.
Their original artwork now fetches incredible prices in the States, hundreds and thousands of dollars.
Presumably that would be the jewel in your collection, wouldn't it?
Very unlikely to find anything like that. But there were British pin-up artists, and unfortunately I don't think their work has been recognised.
Really?
Work on those two cards, that was done by a British pin-up artist called Archie Dickens. And as far as I'm aware, none of his original artwork has ever surfaced.
Gosh. So most of the stuff, though, is coming out of America. For how much what sort of money are we talking?
Printed things like this are relatively cheap. I mean, probably you pick up most things like this for under £10.
And would you advise it as a kind of collectible thing?
Well, you have to be interested in the images. I mean, there's been an increasing interest in this country purely and simply because there's an increasing interest in collecting the 50s, and this is an intrinsic part of the 1950s.
Well, Simon, thanks very much for bringing all this in.
OK.
Pack it all up again now. Now, when artist and toy maker Jeff Soane decided that the building industry wasn't for him, he branched out into wooden toy making, and he's never looked back.